Hold on, ladies and gentlemen, because it's time for the after party. Here we go. After party time. We are going to have fun for the next 3 sessions. Welcome to the after party. We are looking forward. We're seeing what's working now and what's going to be working in the future. A lot of things are changing, and this program is going to be a little bit different than some of the other ones I've done. But I want it to be even more interactive. I want this to be the kind of thing where we're going back and forth and we're kind of playing a little bit more. So it's not going to be just 3 days of 4,000 slides and feeling like there's more stuff to do. So before we get started, I see a lot of people coming on. Welcome, everyone. We added this new little feature here in StreamYard where I can see the comments start to come up here. So that's pretty cool. So tell me right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with AI in general? Just in general, you can go on ChatGPT and do a few prompts. Maybe you're like, hey, I'm like a 4 or 5. You can create crazy stuff and videos that look like Steven Spielberg, and you're at like a 9 or 10, right? Or you're at a 1. You're like, I don't even know what the heck to do. We got some people who are pretty advanced, like John's a 10, Jeff's an 8, Sapano's an 8. It's cool. It's great to see this because what's funny, some of you who have been in my programs, it wasn't even that long ago. Maybe it was 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and I was doing some stuff with ChatGPT, and I think it was like 1.0, and I said, how many of you even use ChatGPT or any AI? And it was like 10%. Really. And I don't know if some of you were on those earlier trainings from, again, less than a year ago, where it is accelerating so quickly. It reminds me of when I gave a business and marketing talk for personal trainers back in the late 90s. It was probably like 99 or even maybe 2000. And I asked them, I said, how many of you have an email address, not an opt-in page, an actual email address, like blah, blah, blah at Gmail, or at that time it was like at Yahoo or at AOL or Excite or whatever. And maybe 20% of the people in the audience, personal trainers, professional personal trainers, maybe 20% even had an email address. The next year, 100%. This feels kind of like that, where it is accelerating so quickly. And I think because the models are getting so much better and because they're getting more intuitive, 6 months ago, a year ago, it was all about the quality of your prompt. And I remember Jasper came out, and actually Dave Rosenberger was one of my students who created Jasper, and it's all about these recipes, and you have to create recipes and prompts, and it was really complex. Now you can speak to it like a regular person. Of course, you want to have a better prompt. It's much better to say, can you write this headline like you're Gary Pennsylvania or Gary Halbert versus write this headline, right? You're going to get better quality. However, now that AI remembers, right? It has a memory, and you could train it really easily, which means it's being adopted by more people, and it's being adopted not just by us, us marketing freaks, but the general population. My dad, who's 79, all of my kids are 19, 20, they all use ChatGPT all the time. One of my daughters said, Dad, can I use your $20 account or something? She wanted to do more research with GPT. So it's really interesting to see how fast it's getting adopted, which was having me really reevaluate this whole space we're in, this whole space of digital marketing, selling courses, selling information, because a lot of you were on my list because that's kind of sort of where you wanted to play. You're probably not like, hey, I want to build $1 billion unicorn SaaS company, because that's not my thing. It's more like I kind of want to be probably an expert or something like that and package information, information products and digital courses. But I'm telling you, it's friggin' changing. Now, what I want to have is this to be all about shifting, pivoting, moving fast in this new world. I could look, and I see some people doing this. I see some of the marketers or the people who teach marketing, they're holding on to the past and they're still grasping at straws. And what they're saying to you is, don't worry about it. Courses aren't going anywhere. People, look, I just sold a $2,000 course. So they're trying to make you feel better, but it it's it's um it's changing so quickly. If you don't already have a program, that I wouldn't suggest you do it. Are people still going to buy programs? Yes, of course. It's not going to zero, but I think the way we approach it and the way we sell it and the way we market has to be different. We have to start thinking differently, and that's what a lot of this training is going to be about. Is about thinking differently, and what I'm going to be doing differently as well, because my model, what I've done for years, whether it was selling information in fitness or health or nutrition and entrepreneurship, it's changing, right? Anyone, like if you're holding on to your secrets, that stuff is all available for free now. So what I want to do during this program is break it down, make it really simple, and explore the three different roles, the three different things, paths you can take, and say, okay, this is what I'm going to have. It's not going to be what this isn't going to be. And I know some of you have said you're like a 9, a 10 with how comfortable you are with AI. This is not an AI training. This isn't me saying, oh, here's how to use Hey Gen and create an avatar. Because the reality is I can teach you that. And I am not exaggerating. For those of you who have been using AI can attest to this. In a week, it's going to change. That's how fast it's moving. Because even with Descript, which is my editing software of choice, I taught my OPP course 3 months ago. It is completely changed. Descript, the whole thing. Now you can create AI videos. You could do AI videos with prompts. They have avatars. They have better AI technology. Like all of this stuff has changed in like 90 days. So if we do a whole step-by-step, here's what to do, here's what to press, it's going to be outdated. That stuff's easy, but the strategy behind it, I think, is the most important thing. So I'm not just going to throw a whole bunch of tools, just use this tool, use that tool. I want to talk about using tools, but doing it the smart way. And I don't want to pile on more things for you to do. I don't want you to walk away with this from this program saying, oh man, now I got to build funnels and there's like 100 things I have to do. The goal, and this one word we're going to keep coming back to. And it's funny because I wrote the word like 19 times. I always have Anila, Dr. Anila, who's on here. She always does like one copy edit for me. She always looks through my copy before it goes live. And she's like, Brian, you use the word clarity a lot. And I used that word, I think it was 17 or 18 times. But it's going to be, by the end of this training, I want you to have clarity. It's funny, I polled all of you 3 or 4 times in a row, all different questions. And by far, I asked them, what's the number one thing holding you back from building your dream business? And far and away, it was something to the effect of like, overwhelmed or fear. I'm not clear. I don't know what to do. A lot of like, I don't know what offer to sell. And if I don't know what to sell, I don't want to start marketing because I don't know what I'm going to sell yet. So there was a lot of that. So I figured I want this just to be about clarity. Because if you don't have clarity, if you don't know the direction you're headed and what you want to do, it's very hard to do anything, right? You become like paralyzed. So we're here because this stuff is changing fast. I posted this article recently from Business Insider, and this person wrote this, I replaced my fitness instructor with AI. I'm now stronger, more motivated, and saving hundreds of dollars. It's just the beginning. And I'm not saying this to scare you, but it's reality, right? It's reality. So we have to accept what's happening, whether we like it or not. Look, I love AI because it helps me with my business, but would it be kind of cool if it didn't happen and it's still all about like how-to info? I've made millions teaching that, and I can coast and make millions more doing it. I can't really do that anymore. And you probably can't either in your market. So what do? Do you give up? Do you say, okay, well, that's it. I'm going to give up or like still hold on to the past? No, you say, okay, well, How can I use this to my advantage in the right way, smart, ethical, still doing the stuff you want to do, um, but doing it in reality, not living in a fantasy land. Uh, Kim said, I wouldn't trade my personal trainer for AI. No way is it the same. Remember though, we, and this is important in everything with marketing, we are not necessarily our customer, right? You may say, well, I would never use AI, but there are millions of people who would. Okay. So we can't let that blind us. We have to go where everything's heading. And yes, there's always going to be people that are saying, no way would I use AI. I don't want to. I only want the human touch. And that's what we're going to talk about, like still adding the human touch to it. This isn't about like just creating a bunch of robots and like pushing buttons like behind from the Wizard of Oz. But here's the funny thing. I guarantee you there are some people you're following online that are avatars or that the information is AI and you have no idea. Like some of these online trainers can be creating programs entirely generated by AI. You have no clue. And let me ask you this, and this is like a philosophical question. Let's say you read a really good book. So tell me, all right, put in here, name a really good like business or marketing or motivational book you've read, whether it's in the past 6 months, year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever, like a business, motivational, personal, any kind of book that's had an impact. And please don't say Bible. There's always one or two that say that. Not that you can't, but just not for this purposes, just don't say Bible. So just give me a book, any book that you've liked, that you've recommended. Atomic Habits by James Clear. Okay, The Alchemist. They ask, you answer. Nobody wants to read. It's so funny, Kim. I'm actually reading that book right now, by Pressman. I've become obsessed with his stuff. He's so good. So yeah, The One Thing is another great one. So Atomic Habits by James Clear. He's sold millions of those. Would it bother you if you found out that was entirely ghostwritten? I'm not saying it was, by the way. But what if you found out he actually didn't write a word of it? It was entirely ghostwritten. Someone else wrote it. Right? Would it change your mind about it? For some, yes. For some, no. To go a step further, well, and how, and this is where, and I really like talking about this stuff because it's so fascinating. How is having it ghostwritten really different than having it written by AI? Right? If a person, is it because it's coming out of a human brain doing it? But if the AI is based on all of that training, what's the difference? I don't know, ethical questions, philosophical questions. I'm putting it out there because for some people said I would never train with an AI trainer, or I'd never get the workers from them. It might be happening, you don't even realize it. So, and it's going to, and we're probably a little bit older than, like, what happens when my kids or my grandkids or your kids or grandkids are in the 40s or 50s? Are they going to care? Maybe, maybe not. So just interesting things to start to noodle around with. But I do think no matter what, regardless, as AI becomes much more user friendly, which it will be. Right now, there's OpenAI, and Google has and Meta. Everyone's doing AI. We still don't know who the big players are going to be. It might be one of those. It might be someone new who we don't even know yet. Like when Friendster came out and all those social networks came out, Facebook wasn't even a thing. We couldn't have predicted it, right? So there might be a thing out there that's coming soon that becomes the really easy to use AI tool for the general population, and 1 billion people are using it. When that happens, why is someone going to buy a course, right? you're gonna have to have really, really strong personal branding. Really strong personal branding. And if you don't want to do that, then what's the other option? It Again, a year ago, 2 years ago, you want to market your coffee shop. It's all about who's the expert, who's the coffee shop marketing expert, right? Let's say it was Meredith Snow is the world's best coffee shop marketing expert. A year or two ago, I'd have to buy her course if I wanted the information that she has. But now I can say, create a marketing plan for my coffee shop that Meredith Snow would do. Done. Is it going to be as good? No. Will some people still want Meredith's input? Yes. But all of those people that were kind of on the fringe buying stuff, they're like, oh, I can't get access to her. It's changing. So we've got to start looking at what's the positive. So now that you're terrified, here's the good. The good is that AI makes everything so light and lean, right? It is so fast. So when I had my, like one of my supplement companies, my early one, ProGrade, we would do these special reports about, so we had one of our products, our best-selling products was krill oil. And we wanted to do like a 12-page, 15-page report about krill oil. We had to hire a researcher. They did all the research. It took them, 2 weeks of research and going through all the data. And then we got that stuff and then and then he wrote the first draft, then gave it to a copywriter. And then it probably took 3-4 weeks and $1,500, $2,000 to write a decent report about krill oil. Today, ChatGPT, can you give me a 10-page report about krill oil and it'll be just as good. Is it going to be perfect? Probably not. You got to go through it again, but it can get us about 95% of the way there. And if you look at it like that, it's game changing for us information marketers, because now we could do so much so quickly. And you can be anyone and you could do anything. Again, I can't stress this part enough that what I don't want to teach and what I don't want you to do is say, okay, now I have a license to be slimy and shady and do all this, scam people because no one's going to know it's me. And I can create fake doctors. It's not that at all. It's about being able to move fast, have more impact, and do things that you probably normally couldn't do or want to do. I wrote an email this morning that was pretty, that's pretty straightforward. How many of you read that this morning? My email this morning about just what I said was some people don't have it, right? I remember I did a mastermind 18, 19 years ago. And one guy wanted to be like this fitness expert online. And he was doing these videos and it was just bombing. Even back then when you could put up anything and get